So here we are, 2021, and everybody's making resolutions about how they're going to spend their year. We know 2020 was crazy, and there's a lot of things that we are still feeling the effects of from 2020, and we need to just be able to get ready to persevere through all this adversity that we're facing on all these different levels. And it's going to be 2021 is going to be a defining year for a lot of people. I want us as a family to move forward in 2021 like never before. And I know that we all are making resolutions and deciding what we want in 2021 and what we're going to do. But I want to give us 5 steps we're going to take that I believe is going to help us to make sure that we realize the things that we are desiring for 2021. All right, so let's talk about resolutions for a minute. So, we all are, like I said, setting resolutions. But the thing about resolutions is that's just a goal. You got to have more than a goal. You have to have a strategy on how you're going to accomplish that goal. And the goal may be to lose weight, exercise more, that whole fitness piece or whatever. Whatever the goal may be, it's going to be some steps you have to take to accomplish that. But I want to go a different route because I think the deeper meaning, the deeper piece of this is really what's going to help us to actually make change in our lives. See, because you can't make a decision today and override a bad habit you've had for your whole life or for a long time. We just don't work that way. I mean, we can experience trauma or be given an ultimatum, and we have to move forward and make changes. But without trauma, without an ultimatum, we can make a decision, but it won't stick. That's personally what I've experienced. I have done some things that I want to change my life for a season, but for whatever reason, I just went back to the old things that I was doing, and I've come to the conclusion personally that it's because my mindset did not change about it. And because my mindset didn't change about it, my attitude, I had a good attitude about it initially, but then the attitude didn't last. You can start out with a great attitude, but the mindset has not changed. That mindset would eventually creep up on that attitude and override it, especially when adversity comes. So the answer here is for us to focus on changing our mindset. So hear me out on this. So it's a new year, right? But the things we need to change are not new to us. We know what we need to change in our lives. We know the things that are hindering us. We know the things we want to accomplish. We know the things that we want to see come to pass in our lives. So that's not new, even though we're in a new year. But the thing is, that's not good enough. We know most of the time what we need to do. We just don't know how to make ourselves do it consistently, right? So we know what to do, and we may have even made strides on doing the things we need to do, but consistently we do it for a season and we fall off. Not so in 2021 for us. We're not doing that. We're going to change our mindsets and attitudes, the ones that are keeping us from becoming who we are really supposed to be, and the ones that are keeping us from doing the things that we know we should do in order to become who we're supposed to be. We're going to change those. And we're going to change those by prioritizing it, by giving it our time. Because how we spend our time reveals our priorities. So if we're not prioritizing the right things, then we're going to get the wrong things in our life. We're not going to get the things that we desire. We can want this, that, and the other thing, but if we find our days away from doing those things that will allow us to do it, and this is common sense, but we don't really think about it, we're not going to get the results that we desire for that year. All right, so we have to make changing our mindsets and priorities a top priority. Changing our mindsets and attitudes have to become a top priority. We sometimes, if we don't set goals, then life prioritizes things for us. We'll get a notification on our phone, we get an email, we get a phone call, and all of a sudden we drop what we're doing to deal with an email, a notification that really is not urgent or important. It's just a distraction that we were going to go do this one thing, then we saw something funny. Next thing you know, it's an hour gone by, and then we're like, "Oh man, I never got to doing that which I was getting ready to go do before I got this distraction." So you have to be sure that we are keeping our focus and concentration on the right things, and we do that by investing time in advance into changing our mindset before we go and try to change our life. Because if you change your mindset, then it'll play out in your life automatically. All right, it'll automatically come. And God did that with Joshua. He said in Joshua 1:8, I believe he said, "This book of the law you should meditate on it day and night, that you will see and make your way prosperous." He told him to meditate on it day and night. He didn't tell him to go and be prosperous. He said meditate on the book, because God knew how he knows how he made man. He knows that once we meditate on something, once something becomes a part of who we are, then we'll automatically do it, right? So you see where I'm going with this. So if you have a goal that you want to accomplish this year, don't just go out and try to accomplish the goal. Set time apart, set time aside to concentrate and meditate on changing your mindset so that you automatically go out and do it. All right. So the thing is, it's like relationships or anything else, whatever you invest time into will become a part of you. All right. So whatever you invest your time in will become a part of who you are. Whatever you don't invest your time in will not become a part of who you are. So that should answer a lot of questions right there about the things you have in your life and the things you don't have in your life. That should answer a lot of questions on why you're the way you are and why you're not the way you want to be. Let's go back and look at your timeline from 2020 up to 2021. How much time did you actually invest in the things that you wanted to have for yourself in 2020? Or did you just kind of live day by day and let your time get sucked up by things that really were not important? And you got focused on the wrong things and you lost your perspective about the time you were wasting, and it's gotten away from you because you lost perspective. Perspective can be gained back by you zooming out right now and looking out over 2021. Zoom out and decide what you want in 2021, and then shift and pivot and take time in advance every day to focus mentally on the things that you need to change about yourself, so that come 2021 you end up automatically doing those things. That's going to mean you doing some things different. That's going to mean you listening to some different teachings, and it could be you spending more time with God, but writing down the things he tells you, not in the sense of just collecting them, but for you to take those things he's written down, and in that season of your life, those are the things you focus on and concentrate on. Just stay with that until you see that change in life that he's shown you. All right? You have to take time to do that. Our struggle here is we have the wrong mindset or a bad mindset. And because we have a wrong mindset or a bad mindset, we have a bad or wrong attitude about it. And so, like I said before, the solution is to replace the mindset, the attitude with the right thing. Because you can't just delete your mindset. It's there. You have to override it. A changed mindset is a mindset that has been replaced or superseded by something else. That's it. That's the truth. That's our psychology right there. You have to change your thinking. God said, renew our mind. Well, what? With his word. He didn't just leave us say, renew your mind. He told it with the word of God. Why? Because he knows how he made us. You got to replace what you believe and what you think with something else in order for you to change and have different actions, different corresponding actions in your life. All right, so here are the 5 steps. I know I did a lot of rambling to set this up, but I had to get that out. So the first step would be let's understand what your mindset currently is. And your mindset can be exposed. Your mindset is revealed by your actions. Your actions, your behaviors reveal what your mindset really is. You may think your mindset, I believe this, I believe that. Your actions tell you who you really are. So you got to be honest with yourself and say, how am I really acting, in private when no one is around? I can put on a front in front of people, blase this, blase, boom, boom, boom. But behind closed doors, how do I really act? Be honest with yourself. Because once you begin to see your actions, then you can begin to understand your true mindset. So the first step would be, number 1, write down your actions concerning the things that you want to change in your life. What are you currently doing right now? Okay, I'll go back to the example of fitness. So if you want to be in shape, I currently eat late at night. I currently don't exercise. I currently don't work out. So if you know you're not currently doing those things, my mindset about those things is it's not a part of who I am. I don't believe it to the point where I take action. See, I currently Uh, raise my voice when I get upset. I yell. Okay, so my mindset about the way I express my anger is I yell. You follow what I'm saying? So if you don't want to yell when you get angry, you have to start with your current actions. So number one, define your current actions. Understand what your actions are. Look at your life and say, what are your actions? How do you act for real, right? How do you act for real? Write down how you act for real, and then that'll define your mindset. All right. So the first thing is to write down how you act for real. The second step is to write down what that mindset really is. That's going to be painful. That's going to be painful. That's going to be hard. It's going to be, but if you're honest and you're truthful about it, it should hurt because it should reveal to you who you really are. And that's cool. It's okay. We got Jesus. We have Christ. He's redeemed us. He's forgiven us. We are washed in the blood of the Lamb. No condemnation is here. We can move forward. But you have to at least acknowledge where you at. So acknowledge your mindset. Acknowledge your mindsets by recognizing your actions. Number one, recognize your actions. Number two, define what that mindset is that's causing that action. Okay, number three. Step three is to write down the actions or the behavior that you want to have regarding that mindset. So if I want to be fit, that means I have to get rest. I'm a person who goes to bed at a decent time. I'm a person that works out. I'm a person that eats healthy. Those kind of things. Those are the actions. So then you take those actions, step four, and let those actions define the mindset you should have. So my mindset is I have a schedule I stick to. My schedule is I go to bed at XYZ time. My schedule that I stick to is I work out every morning at whatever time. That's my mindset. That's my choice. That's what I believe I do. That's who I am. Right? So step number one was to define your actions. Step number two was let your actions define your mindset. Step number three was define the actions you want to have in your life. All right. Step number four, let those actions you want to have define the mindset you want to have. All right. So once you've done that, and you should write all this down. Don't try to do this mentally. Don't even try to do it like in your head. Take time to write it down someplace where you know you're going to come back to it. Don't just take a random notepad. It's cool. You can do that if you want. But if you're already not a person who journals or already not a person who consistently writes stuff down in a certain place, start today. Like if you email a lot, put it in an email draft or someplace you go a lot to look at stuff. You know what I mean? But please do not try to do this mentally, because what we're doing here is you're formalizing this process by writing it down in some place. Maybe you write it down and you print it off, and then you put it on the wall. Do something that you can constantly go back to this thing, but you have to take that step of formalizing it. Okay, so formalize means that there's a point of reference you can go back to. There's a record of it. Okay, so you want to make a record. Don't just do it on a Post-it note. It needs to be more formal than that for yourself. Formalize it. I would say write it in something and print it off and frame it, put them on the wall, do something, but formalize it so you can realize it. All right. So it's those 4 steps. Number one was to be honest about your current actions and let your current actions define what your current mindset is and accept it. And then you're going to change your mind about it. You're going to go the other way. You're going to repent. You're going to go this way. And then you're going to say, oh, okay, that's the wrong mindset. You're going to go this way to the other mindset, which if you really look at it, the other mindset is going to actually be the opposite in most cases, the complete opposite. So it's going to define what your mindset should be for you, honestly. But going through this process is good. All right. So once you define your current actions and then define your current mindset and then define the actions you want to have and define the mindset you want to have, you're going to go to the last step, which is the most important step. And I've touched on it a little bit earlier, and that's to meditate on it. Again, I go back to what God told Joshua, and I look at the scriptures. When I look at God say things, I kind of look at the whole thing. If God is speaking to man and He's saying something to man, God is speaking to the man from the framework and the mindset that I made man. I know how to communicate to man, and I know how man psychologically works, and that's why I say the things I say to man the way I say it. So when He said to Joshua, "This book of the law, meditate on it day and night, and you will see the way to make your way prosperous." He knew full well that if Joshua did that he would make his way prosperous. There was no question in God's mind that he would not accomplish what God told him to do. So that being said, we're going to take that principle and we're going to apply that principle in our lives. All right. So we're going to meditate on the mindset that we want to have. Because here's the thing. We have to use our imagination. You know, you got to use it as a asset, not a liability. All right. Your mind becomes a liability when you use it to worry. When you use your mind in a negative context, when you just use your mind to dream of the most worst thing that can happen. And that's a natural tendency we have. We think the most worst thing or the most negative thing. And that's not what our mind is for. When God gave us a mind, he didn't give us a mind he didn't give us imagination for our imaginations to be something that we use against ourselves. You know, oh my gosh, no, he gave it as a servant, as a blessing, as a tool for us to navigate life and to move forward and to persevere, right? So we're going to take our mind and you have to use it as an asset. You have to invest into your mind as an asset. Invest into your mind with your imagination as an asset, just like when you were a kid. God, every kid uses their imagination. All of them. We all have gone through that phase in life where we played and we imagined and it was real and it was fun and we've had the feelings that we were having fun. But we become adults, man, and we don't know how to use our imagination anymore. We can use our imagination for sin. We can figure out how we want to sin, but we can't use our imagination to, overcome. We use our imagination to think of the most worst case scenario possible. And I don't know. Well, I know why. In this case, we're going to use our imagination the way God told Joshua to use his. Look on the law, meditate on it day and night. Think about it. Right? Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinks, so is he. Bible also talks about, I think it's in Genesis with the Tower of Babel. I'm trying to throw this from memory, but I think it goes something like they were trying to build a tower, and basically God said they're going to accomplish whatever they're imagined to do. I may have that wrong, but it's something along those lines. But I know God does not like vain imaginations. But because of what they could see in their mind, what they could imagine, they were unstoppable. So God had to come down himself and say, I'm shutting this down. So that just tells you the power of the mind and the imagination if you embrace that. So I know I said 5 things, but the 5th thing, and I got 2 more to give actually. This is going a whole lot longer than what I thought it was. I thought this was going to be like 5 minutes, but we're at 18 minutes now. Anyway. Let's talk about meditating and concentrating for a minute. So, if we're going to make changing our minds to the top priority, that means we got to do it first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. When we get up in the morning, we need to set aside 20 to 30 minutes where we meditate on that thing, that one thing, where we concentrate on that one thing, that mindset we're trying to change in our lives, so that as we go forward and doing it, not only are we taking action doing it, but we also are in our mind exercising it. See? I'm reminded of a quote as a musician I heard before. It said, amateur musicians practice, let me get this right, so they don't mess up. And it's a professionals practice until they can't mess up. So that quote is saying things can become so ingrained in you that it's a habit and it's just automatic. You can't mess up. So the practicing is the meditation, right? You meditate on it so much that you can't not do it. Think about that. You worry so much that you can't stop thinking about it. Your stomach is all turned up. You get all kind of anxiety. You got bubble gut. Everything is going on, and you just a wreck because you're worried. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're meditating on it until it affects your body, until it just rips you apart. Then you're angry, grumpy, depressed. Then it's just a terrible cycle to fall into. And it's all because of this. It's all because of what's going on up here, what we're doing and what we're not doing. So we need to set aside time every morning, 20 to 30 minutes, first thing in the morning. Don't let that get by. Collect your thoughts. But I would say if you have a lot of goals you want to set, I would say take one at a time. You take time to prioritize them and grab one at a time, and maybe look at the one that's going to give you the most return. Maybe you need to focus on going to bed on time or whatever, so you can begin to become a person who exercises in the morning. You know what I mean? And you may have to spend the first weeks of the year just making sure you meditate and focus on, I'm the kind of person that goes to bed on time, and you start going to bed on time. Once you start doing that, then add exercising. You know what I mean? Something like that. But you do the most important thing first. But you have to do this how long? There is no set time. You have to do it until you have a changed mindset. The beauty of it is the way God made us is we're creatures of habit. So after a while, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, I don't know. Everybody's different. It'll become a habit. It just become part of who you are. And if there's external things like family members or friends who are like pulling you off track, your changed behavior will redefine how they see you. And after you have shown them over a period of time that this is what you're now beginning to do, they'll accept it and they'll respect it. They should anyway. If they don't, then that's a whole nother conversation. And I think you know what to do about that. You need to communicate to them. No, you see what I've been doing over the last 6 weeks, last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 months, whatever. And I would appreciate if you help me stay on track and not be a liability to me getting off track. Just be that honest and be that clear. Yeah. So meditate on it every day, no matter how long it takes. It'd be worth it, because once it becomes a habit, man. The other two things I wanted to share with you was just a couple of bonuses, I would say. And it kind of plays into this. Think about it throughout the day. You know what I mean? Number 6, think about it throughout the day. Instead of like when you get bored, grab your phone and scroll social. That's cool. But before you, throughout that day, when you get bored or whatever, and you just want to kill some time, let your default be to think about what you should be meditating on, and meditate on that for a few minutes throughout the day. And then you can go scroll social if you want. But just recognize and realize that the more time you spend, doing stuff that's entertaining, it's also affecting you in a way that it kind of draining you a little bit. And just make sure you get to what you want to get to first. Most importantly, that when you're your best self, your most energetic self, and pour yourself into those things. And when your energy is low and you're winding down and you want to, do some entertainment or do something like your brain, go ahead and do your social media. Just use, blue light blocking glasses, or the night vision thing for your computer, so the blue light doesn't keep your body awake at night in the evening if you have problems going to sleep. I don't have a problem going to sleep, but I do have blue light blocking readers. Anyway, so that's one thing you can do throughout the day. Another thing you can do throughout the day is if you drive or whenever you're alone, just instead of turn on the radio or turn on music first, how about you just take a few minutes while you're driving, sitting in the car, riding, whatever, alone. Just think about that goal. Meditate on that mindset you need to change. Meditate on it. Meditate on it. And meditate on it. And meditate on it. And then put some music on. But you got to invest time into your mindset. It's the more you invest time into it, the more it grows, the more stronger it gets, the deeper the roots go. And it needs time. It needs you to pour into it, and it needs time to set in and go deep, and just have to do it consistently for an extended period of time. I cannot emphasize that enough. And then at night, before you go to bed, as you lay in your bed, don't just doze off with the TV on or looking at your phone. Turn everything off. Let it be quiet. And as you're laying in your bed, closing your eyes, think about it. Think about that thing you want to meditate on and concentrate. Meditate and concentrate on it. And in the morning, you start over. You get up in the morning, you get your face washed or whatever, and you kind of get alert. And then you just go find that quiet place and you just think about that one thing. Think about it. Imagine yourself in it. Imagine yourself being the kind of person you want to be. See it. Use your imagination as an asset, not a liability. Do it. Yeah. And the last bonus I had was, and this is good. You should think about using an app to remind you to do that. Or a calendar. A calendar, first of all, because you can put like a meeting notice on your phone or whatever, and then you get a notification in the morning. Hey, meditate for 20 minutes. Just set it for every day the same time. You know what I mean? And let that thing remind you. The downside to that is you can become blind to it if you ignore it. And that's a potential thing that could happen. So don't ignore it. And basically when you do that, you're actually going in advance. You're setting aside time for yourself on your calendar. So someone asks you to do something, you say, I'm busy at that time. And that's something you can play into, beyond meditation is when you're going to work out. You want to work out at certain times every week, every day, or whatever you want to do to work on. You can go ahead and go in advance to your calendar and put it on your calendar and set reminders and set notifications so that you are like guiding yourself through that. And also you can use an app. I use an app called Momentum. And what that Momentum app does is every night at 9 o'clock, it just reminds me, I got to check off the things that I want to do every day consistently. I'll use my phone right here. Can't show it to you, but so that may be things that you value most, that are highly valuable to you, that you really desire to make sure that you are doing them every day. And the thing I like about Momentum is it allows you to create a streak. So you can open the app up and you'll see the things you have listed, and it's like on one column to the left, and then across the top is the days of the week, and then you can check the box. So like on Monday, if I check the box and the box is green, then it moves over, and then the next day the box and we check is green. So you can look at streaks of how long you've been doing some consistency. And what that does is it's rewarding to see that, and it's also motivates you to not break your streak, to not break your streak. And that creates momentum. And once that momentum is built, you're building a habit. And once that habit is built, then you're changing. And that's really the lasting piece of the lasting thing we want to accomplish is really truly changing, not just modifying our behavior, because the modified behavior, it's not going to last. It's only going to last until something else comes in and knocks you off, because it's not really a part of who you are. But when you're changing your mindset, something can come back and hit you, boom, and you just come right back to it because that's who you are. It's kind of like those, I guess, weebles. They wobble, but they don't fall down. You, boom, come right back up. You know what I mean? Those when we were kids, we had these punching bags that had sand in the bottom, and you blow them up and you punch it, and it just, but it come right back up. You know what I mean? That's when you change your mindset. That's what happens. That's why people who have a bad mindset about something, they are so hard to work with. But you know what? That's the way God made us. Because if God wants us to have a mindset about His word, about Him, we should be like that. We should take a hit, rise right back up. Boom. Think about it. That's how our bad habits are. We try to hit our bad habits at the beginning of the year. Boom. The bad habit be like, boom, oh, they got me. And then three days later, that habit. 3 weeks later, 3 months later, 6 months later, bad habit is back. Like, you thought I was gone. It just hit me. Why? Because it's a mindset. It's a mindset. So, our attitudes express our mindsets. So, if you can see your attitude about it, then you can define your mindset about it. Right? So, if you can define your mindset about it, meditate on that mindset until it becomes part of your attitude will automatically change to align with that. And then when you are hit with things in life, come right back to it. Rise right back up. So, this is way longer than what I wanted it to be, but it is what it is. It has to be this way. So, hope this bless you. I hope this helps you. And family, we're going to get this done this year. 2021 is going to be a year of change mindsets. And we're going to take that into the rest of our life. These mindsets we change today will stick. They will last. They will be a part of who we are. Amen. God bless you.